grandma met the devil. Story time. So when grandma was in her late teens, she had a child out of wedlock, and this man abandoned her. So at this point, her parents were pushing her to get married to someone new. That's how it was back then. She's sitting in the old Chevy with her friend at a burger place when this really tall, dark, very attractive man walks up behind the car, stops, turns around, and comes back to her window and leans in. My girl was very modest, but she openly admitted this was the most attractive man she had ever seen in her entire life. He didn't even look real. She didn't even think people could look this way because he was so perfect, so handsome. He was about 6'5", 6'6" tall. He had jet black hair, bright green eyes, big lips, and pretty white teeth. He was dressed in all black. Black coat, black shirt, black pants, and black shoes. So he leans down in the window and they start talking. He says his name is Sammy, he's new to town, and he's just trying to make some new friends. So my grandma and her friend, being the sweet, kind people they were, they invite him to come sit down and have a burger with them. It was her. He didn't say 2 words to her friend, so she thought maybe he liked her. And they ride off and ride around town all night, just talking and hanging out. Here's where it starts to get weird. Grandma said when she went to drop him off, she asked him, "Where do you stay?" He said, "Well, I don't have a home, I just came to town." She said, "Well, where do you want me to take you?" And he had her drop him off at the graveyard. He was like, "I don't know that I really want to go out there, and because that's just a scary place, even in the daylight." He was like, "Well, just take me to the end of the road." So she drops him off at the big gate. Now, she did not tell this man where she lived, but the next day around 12 o'clock, he comes walking up the driveway, and her mom's sitting there on the porch, shelling butter beans, and she's like, "Hey, there's some tall guy walking up the driveway." Her mom's like, "Oh, that's Sammy, the man I met last night." So by now, her friend and her mother have both seen this man. He's real. But most importantly, he was dressed in all black. So Sammy walks up where grandma, her mom, and the little toddler are sitting on the porch shelling butter beans, and Sammy asks grandma out on a date. So my grandma looks over at her mom, and her mom's like, "Yeah, go ahead, I'll watch the baby." Remember, he came up walking, but now they're driving in her car. So he tells grandma along the way that he's made a little picnic out in the graveyard. And grandma, being the kind of person that she was, didn't want to be disrespectful or ungrateful, so she agreed to go. They go out to the graveyard where she sees there is no picnic. He lied. There's no blanket, no food, no nothing. And now he's asking her all these personal questions, mainly about her faith and personal belief. He starts talking about religion. Do you go to church? What do you believe in? And then he starts debating with her a little bit about Christianity. Grandma always admitted she was never a perfect Christian. She sinned a lot. She made a lot of mistakes. But grandma, being a faith warrior that she was, you could not dilute her faith. Like, she would fight you all day long about her God. She wouldn't push it on you, but if you debated her, she would defend it. Then Sammy asked grandma, "Were you in love with the man you had that child by?" Grandma said, "Oh yeah, I thought we were going to get married. I fell head over heels for him." And Sammy says, "I know when you're lying." It really freaked her out, though, that he called her out on it like that. She could just see something in his eyes, like he knew she wasn't telling the truth, so she admitted, "No, I wasn't in love with him." The truth that everybody didn't know was grandma and the baby daddy didn't even know each other. They had like a 1 or 2 night stand, got pregnant, and then because they didn't want to look bad, they told everybody they met, fell in love, were going to get married, and then the man abandoned her because he got cold feet. Sammy says, "But you weren't going to marry him either. He wasn't the only one with cold feet, was he?" Grandma was like, "Wait, we're the only 2 people who know what happened. How do you know that?" And Sammy loudly says, "I know everything." Then he tells her, "I want you to come be with me." He said, "You leave your child behind. It's just going to be you and me forever." And grandma says, "Leave my child? I would never leave my child for anyone." And he says, "Yes, you would. You will for me." He said, "I know for a fact you would leave your child and your whole family to be with me." Grandma responds, "No, hell I wouldn't. I would never leave my child for anyone." But mentally, in her mind, she admits she would. Like, there's a weird little feeling in her mind that says she would leave her child because it feels like he's persuading her to think or feel that way. Trigger warning. Then he tells her he wants to know that she'll do anything for him, even if that means unaliving people, and he'll give her whatever her heart desires. And now she's terrified. Something was telling her, you're dealing with something very serious, like a serial killer, a demon, something's going on, and it's not good. You better hear. So she jumps up to leave, and then he pulls her back down and says, "You can't leave until we're finished. You have to say yes or no." He says, "I know you need a partner and a father for your child." She said, "You said if we were together, I'd be abandoning my child." He said, "Well, that would be a stipulation of the deal." She said, "It sounds like you're trying to trick me." He said, "Well, some people do call me a trickster." He said, "All you have to do is agree to be with me. Just say the word yes, say it." She said, "No, I'm not making a deal, no." And then she starts thinking about the story her great-grandmother used to tell her about the man in black. So the man in black story dates back as far as we can remember, all throughout the southern states. And it's a very attractive man who dresses in all black and targets female victims of all ages, asking them to do his bidding or trying to make a deal. They call him a trickster for a reason because his deals never end well, never, and people believe that he's actually trying to take souls. So she used to wear this pendant that her mom gave her. It wasn't a cross, it was something else. So she grabs it and starts mentally praying, "Please don't let nothing happen to me or my child. Please protect us," because she's starting to freak out. She's scared. He backed up and said, "You're never going to agree to it, are you?" And she said, "No, you should know that if you know everything." But he stands up, looks down at her, and she said his pupils got so big his eyes looked black, like they were almost solid black. He said, "Too bad we couldn't make make a deal, but I will see you again in a few years. She said, no, you won't. He said, yes, I will. And then he disappeared as he walked behind the graves. She got so scared, her hands were shaking, her palms were sweating, almost about to throw up, so she got in the car and headed home. The whole way home, she kept thinking she was mentally breaking down, like, was he even real? Did this happen? And then when she gets home, her mom says, well, how did the date go with Sammy? And she's like, so he is real. You did see him. And her mom was like, yeah, where is he? What happened? And then she tells her mom, and her mom was like, holy shit. So her mom, being the religious fanatic that she was, takes grandma and the baby down to the river and has the preacher baptize them all over again because she thinks the devil's after them. Grandma said she don't know if he was a psycho, a serial killer, or a demon, but what she does know is he's real and he was there. And what's crazy, he was right. She saw him again 10 years later and he hadn't aged a bit. He came to her at her lowest point when her current husband was abusing her and her children. If you want to hear about that, I'll make a part 2.